Hi, welcome to High Growth with HTDC. I'm your host, Cindy Matsuki. This is where we talk about all things tech, entrepreneurship, manufacturing, and innovation. So, a lot of things are going on in Hawaii, and this is a place where we like to share them with you. And today, our guests are Todd Funasaki and Jeff Malins of Sagely and TeamPraxis. Are you both with TeamPraxis too?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So, I know TeamPraxis is a pretty big, I guess, a leader in Hawaii in healthcare tech space, but maybe briefly let us know what TeamPraxis is.
Sure. So TeamPraxis is a spin-off of Data, or a subsidiary of DataHouse, which is really kind of a family of companies that is in a lot of different areas. So consulting, TeamPraxis is medical services, both for local doctors, electronic medical records, billing, revenue cycle management,
Wow.
And then we also have a software development division, which is where I was before going to Sagely, and we make analytics software for primarily groups on the mainland.
Oh.
So we have about 70 customers with 20,000 doctors. It's actually about half of TeamPraxis's business is software sales on the mainland.
Wow, I had no idea. That's great. And then how did Sagely come out of all this?
Well, I'll start it, and then I'm going to pass off to Todd.
Yep.
We had some resources that freed up from our software business, because a lot of it is tied to Medicare billing programs, and Medicare, a couple of those programs were ending. So we had all of this highly trained technical staff, and the thought was, well, let's have an entrepreneurial effort. Let's spin out a company.
That's great.
Let's treat it like a real startup, because TeamPraxis has 150 people. It's a pretty large company. Let's see if we can infuse some energy, get the young people excited. And we made the decision to focus on the senior aging space. We didn't really know what we were going to do exactly, so we were following a lean development methodology where we were really trying to do problem interviews, find out what was out there, and just kind of run experiments to see what the intersection between the healthcare knowledge that we have and these great needs that are coming from the growing number of seniors.
And this was all still internally at
This was all internally,
Right.
absolutely.
Right,
We were,
right.
and I mean, even to this day, we are still officially on salary with TeamPraxis, but within the next month, we're going to be officially spinning out the business, putting money in.
Cut the cord.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. It's a little scary, but also
official.
very, very exciting.
Yeah.
So we had this mandate, or kind of a grant from management. Hey, we see what you can do, and report back to us. And so we started talking to senior caregivers, and I'll pass it off to Todd.
Yeah. So as far as the overall lean methodology, instead of just assuming we know something and we didn't, especially with Jeff's background, we knew a lot about healthcare, but as far as senior care, we're just learning. So we
So that's not necessarily a focus of TeamPraxis yet, or it wasn't?
No. Yeah, so it's really part of this kind of spin-in entrepreneurial opportunity. So we really took the opportunity and interviewed about 50 caregivers of those providing care to seniors at home. And really just kept it open, like what are your big problems, really agnostic of technology.
That's
initially. And quickly realized that technology might have a place, but there's a vast spectrum of challenges for caregivers, especially seniors at home. And starting and trying to force some app or technology probably wasn't the best use or starting point. But one of those meetings or interviews, we met with a lady, and her mother happened to be at a assisted living community here in Hawaii. And she really, one of her wishes says, I wish I could communicate better with my mom without always having to go there every day. And that, she didn't think about some app or some technology at that point. She was just voicing and kind of vetting her wish. And that's really how we got into these senior communities. And that's kind of the nexus where Sagely started.
Wow. That is really interesting. And was there any innovative or kind of like that entrepreneurship before this happened?
Well, there was. But
Like
I
within
think it was
TeamPraxis?
less of a conscious effort and more of serendipity. In that the previous product that we had, it's one called CQS, it's the analytics product. I led the team that developed that, and we initially built it as a quality dashboard for our local physicians to participate in some of these Medicare reporting programs at the time. And so we developed it, we recruited some great partner physicians on 3 islands, Kauai, Maui, and Oahu, and we really produced a pretty nice piece of software. And shortly thereafter, Allscripts, which is a public company, the vendor of the medical record that we use, found out about it, and it was a niche in their, they didn't have a product to address that. So they asked to be our distributor.
That's
and
great.
Long story short, I mean, it's done about 70 million in revenue, which we've split with them since 2008. So we ended up producing a very successful product, but we just built it locally to try to meet a need here, and it happened to find the right partner at the right time with the right need, and it was very successful.
That's great. So you're always coming up with new products at TeamPraxis? Is that part of it? And then this one just
It's part of it. So we've had two major products so far. The first one was started in early 2000. Like, I actually worked on it right after I got out of school and came back, which is the revenue cycle billing system that we use, which again was made locally because we were licensing a piece of software for the mainland from a mainland company, and they kept raising the fee and they wouldn't make any changes, and typical story with large vendors. But we had a talented team that we pulled over from the DataHouse side and said, well, let's make it ourselves. And we did, and it's still running, it's still very successful. We were able to sell it to a mainland company about,
That's great.
I guess 5 years ago. So that was number 1. The analytics was number 2, and then Sagely is number 3. So we have a history of it, but this is the first one we've done as a true spin-out, a true separate company, and really looked for outside funding to help make it happen.
What kind of spurred that on? I know that you went through Blue Startups. Sagely went through Blue Startups.
That's correct.
How did that come about, like, as an option?
Yeah, I mean, we heard of Blue Startups and applied and saw the opportunity. And overall, as far as the outside investment, I think we really wanted to treat Sagely and the parent company as, again, not a separate company for a separate company's sake, but we saw the opportunity to really take this and grow beyond our the local market, Hawaii, and taking the outside investment was a logical means to try to achieve that end.
Right. It's sort of, I think something HTDC talks about of importing money. If it's us spending our own money, it's one thing, but to actually bring in outside money is much different. And
good
we
validation.
Think, yeah, of course.
Yeah, definitely. So, could you compare, like, what stage Sagely was at before Blue Startups and then after?
Yeah, so I can comment on, so before Blue Startups, early in 2014, that's really when we were exploring the different options we had for Sagely as a company, and started to really converge on the senior market. And then at that point, again, in a very lean fashion, started to develop some prototypes and products. And about midpoint last year, we started actual pilot engagements with some of the larger senior care communities here in Hawaii, like Arcadia and Craigside and the Plaza. And that's about the time, maybe halfway through that pilot period, because we had traction and a lot of interest, validation from a customer point of view.
Definitely.
I think that's a big part of why Blue was interested and took us on.
And those are the big ones, the big senior care facilities.
They are, and they were excellent partners. I mean, I must say that, Tricia Medeiros at the Plaza and Susie Schulberg and Karen Thorpe at Craigside and Arcadia, they were just bent over backwards to help us and give our staff access to, shadow their employees. I mean, I would say,
Wow, that's great.
being the third product we've created in Hawaii, that is hands down the advantage that Hawaii has technology-wise is the relationships and sort of the strength of the partnerships you can build. If you're making something that can overlap with business that is already in Hawaii, people are so gracious.
Wow.
Yeah, I would definitely say that was a differentiator for us too, because as Jeff was saying, we literally were allowed to shadow and work with the staff for months on end.
So basically the customer actually helped you build
Yeah,
your
and again, that's a very lean process, right, where I actually went into the communities, got to, more than I was going into the office during that period. And yeah, we would build prototypes, show them screenshots or ideas, and they would say, that makes sense, that doesn't, and then we'd go back and tweak it and then build it.
We had kind of focus groups with residents, their leadership council, their fitness council, so actually
the actual seniors.
Working with the seniors.
That's great. Yeah.
Because there's really two dimensions of customers, right? One is the staff that actually uses Sagely, but the other is the family, and we can get into this, but the family and the actual seniors that also leverage and reap the benefit.
Yeah, I guess this is a good point. We didn't actually go into what Sagely does. We're kind of talking about how it got there, but yeah, give us a brief description of Sagely.
Okay, so it really brings together two things. One is replacing paper for these communities.
That's always
so
good.
A lot of, the medical side of things has, been automated with electronic medical records. But when you look at the rest of a senior's life at one of these communities, at best it's paper. Paper, taking down things on clipboards. Maybe it's transferred to Excel a couple times a year so that someone can make a graph. But it's actually very important data when you're looking at trying to give seniors the best experiences, give families the best experiences, and nothing was capturing it. And then on the other side, there is this whole need that we found in the story Todd was telling of how families want to keep in touch with their loved ones who are in these communities. They want to know what's going on, especially as demographics skew a little bit younger. People are used to Facebook feeds, and if you disappear, if you're their mother and say they're living at home as long as they can, but then they eventually have to enter one of these communities, it pretty much cuts off contact. So we tried to combine those two things. So collect data on iPads, automate it, provide reports, provide a lot of functionality for the communities, but then provide a smartphone application for family members to get real-time updates of, so they know that their mom got out of her room, she went to a meal, she's socializing. And what we found this did was it changed conversations. So it wasn't, the daughter, the son calling and saying, "What'd you do today, Mom?" And then her having to either say, "Your brother already asked me," or "I'm tired, I don't want to go into it," or maybe
they just
they don't remember.
Yeah.
But now it's when you have this history on your phone, you can say, "Hey, Mom, how was the movie last night? Did you like it?" And immediately jump into a quality conversation.
Wow, that's great. Is there a social aspect to it, kind of like Facebook, where?
Not yet. But
well, from the family point of view, anybody with a smartphone with a loved one in one of these communities can get. It's not interactive just yet, but that's coming. They can see the what has as far as a participation and activity trend. They can see that type of information.
Wow.
Basically, they can get the information that they always either call or visit. And again, we're not replacing the call or visit. Like Jeff was saying, really making that engagement between. Right. So when they come in and talk to the staff, or more importantly, when they come in and talk to their loved ones, it's a much more meaningful, efficient conversation.
We really see it as a way to impact quality of life.
Definitely. That sounds like a game changer. Very cool. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. My guests today are Todd Funasaki and Jeff Malins of Sagely. We're talking about their experience in Blue Startups and beyond. This is High Growth with HTDC, and we'll be right back.
We're here with Hunter Haviland because he is a member of our panel on February 26th. We're going to talk about Hawaii, the state of unfunded liabilities. Hi, Hunter.
Hi, Jay.
So what does it look like from your point of view, being on that panel?
Well, part of my work is with the Asia Pacific Center for Regenerative Design. And so with that, we're kind of taking a broader notion of when we talk about liabilities, what are some of the external factors, right? So if we're talking about sustainability across the globe, resilience to natural disasters, our use of natural resources, and how those things do or don't get incorporated into our current understandings of the state of the state.
Yeah, and thus the liabilities and thus the economy. Yeah. So that's February 26th. It's a Thursday. It's at Laniakea. It starts at 12 noon. Come down 11:30 for lunch. Check out our website to sign up, thinktechhawaii.com. Hunter is one of 7 speakers. We'll be trying to talk to some of the others too, let you know what they're going to do. And sign up. We'll see you there. It'll be important. It's one of the most important things we can think of. Aloha.
Aloha.
Hi, welcome back. This is High Growth with HTDC, and I'm your host, Cindy Matsuki. There's a lot going on this week, so I wanted to let you know. Starting today, the Patsy Mink Center for Business and Leadership kicks off their 16th series workshop called Launch My Business. And they'll teach you the information and skills you need to know to build your own business, including the chance to learn from others' mistakes. That is the best way to learn them. Tonight, February 24th, is Wetware Wednesday. Yes, I know it's on a Tuesday, but that's because we're going to pauhana with the Hawaii Information and Communication Technology Association's ICT Conference, covering 2015 technology trends at the Haliko Hotel in DeRussy Hall. We'll be starting at 5 instead of our usual 6, so come and join us for our happy hour drink specials. That's Wetware Wednesday tonight. This Thursday, February 28th, is the Hawaii Venture Capital Association's annual awards gala at the Wailai Country Club. This is done to recognize the accomplishments of Hawaii's best entrepreneurs, and registration is still open, so check it out. It should be a really great event. If you need some quick small business legal advice, every other Wednesday, HTDC offers free legal guidance in partnership with the Business Law Corps. You can sign up for a 30-minute appointment at the Manoa Innovation Center. Please visit htdc.org/legal to sign up. Lastly, calling all SBIR Phase 1 winners. HTDC offers the state's matching fund for up to 50% of your Phase 1 award. So if that's you and you've won one recently, please contact us at sbir@htdc.org. And that is important. Please do contact us. And now back to our awesome guests. Today we have Todd Funasaki and Jeff Malins of Sagely and TeamPraxis. Very exciting. My grandmother is actually in a facility, and it is hard, and especially because there's such a shortage of spaces. She's out in Kapolei, and I'm in town, so it's like there is a long, sometimes there's a long period before we visit, but that'd be great if there was a way to know, how she's doing, or...
Yeah, reduce some of the guilt and just when you call.
I do feel guilty. Yeah, that's great. So you were kind of talking about where Sagely was at before you entered the accelerator. And so you already had beta customers, you were getting some customer feedback, and you had some traction, and then you got in, and then what was it like?
So I think it was it was really, it worked out well because we had gotten the Sagely product about as far as we'd gotten past products working on our own in terms of, hey, we've got beta, we have users, we have some testimonials, we have some traction, but at that point in the past, we've always found a partner or self-funded and just kind of went forward organically. But this time we wanted to actually try to make a business that would be appealing to outside capital. We wanted to go to the mainland as quickly as we possibly could. We really wanted to take the next step in terms of scale and ambition with a business, and that's where Blue Startups was extremely valuable. I guess the way the program works is you're put in touch with mentors from industry, and we were able to get advice on marketing, on business development, on negotiation, on just this whole world of startup finance, which is quite complicated in terms of the different options and financial vehicles. We were able to do mock pitches for investors, do mock due diligence with investors. I mean, it was really just a crash.
Before you do the actual.
Crash course in what it takes to be a startup, Silicon Valley style. And that was so valuable for us because I was right
in our backyard.
Yeah, in our backyard. I've been with DataHouse and that family of companies for a long time, and it had all been, internal efforts, Hawaii-focused efforts that happened to find an opportunity on the mainland. So learning from the outside world how to start there was really, really valuable.
That's great. I think this is such an interesting model that it's one of Hawaii's bigger companies looking to the startup to actually help, or just the startup ecosystem to help launch something like this. Do you think there's any benefits as far as bringing something back to TeamPraxis from the experience?
Oh, absolutely.
Of those startups?
Absolutely. I think, this is the kind of thing you don't unexperience. Really, both in...
Like riding a bike.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we definitely will be, the DataHouse family of companies has really made it an effort in the last few years to be more entrepreneurial, encourage more innovation from within, and
That's great.
Spread that hopefully globally. Both start in Hawaii, but then businesses on the mainland. And I think we're doing a few things with HTDC and the Innovation Center in Kakako, and really trying to, really whatever we can to support a climate that where this kind of thing can happen and happen routinely in Hawaii. And I think trying to walk the walk ourselves is one of the best ways to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think with the overall Blue startups, along with the mentors are great, even the cohort companies, just kind of working day to day with them, and then it wasn't all roses, and that's definitely what startup life is all about, and just getting sometimes that brutal honesty is exactly what's needed to kind of iterate and pivot and develop and grow. Definitely the contacts as well, both locally and in our case for the mainland, it has been very, very critical and valuable.
That's good. Was there a big benefit that you saw having the cohort and just working together with them?
I think from my point of view, yeah, it's just the experience, and it's kind of like being in a dorm, and everyone has to go through the same type of, or is going through the same type of experiences. We were a little different because we had both the day job or the parent company.
Yeah.
So it almost felt like cheating because, we kind of had that little buffer or parachute, if you will. But
they were struggling eating, cup of noodle and just trying to scrape by. A lot of them are, a few to quite a few years younger than us, but I found it energizing.
As I was going to say,
extremely energizing.
I took some energy or inspiration from the youth, from
they're young, they're hungry.
Yeah, I would think if this is all you're getting your money from, then your drive is that much higher. So you guys both had full-time jobs, and then you did this on top of that, or did
kind of splitting?
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's been a slow process of kind of winding down what we were doing before, and it corresponded well with actually getting customers and having software, but it definitely started as more of a hobby.
That's so
activity.
great that TeamPraxis actually just had the initiative to do this. That's really
it was a very
different
unique
thinking.
Situation.
Yeah,
especially here in Hawaii. I moved back job-wise from the mainland, from Silicon Valley, to join TeamPraxis a little over a year ago, and very grateful because of this very innovative spirit and software opportunity. I did some of that in the Bay Area, and to find that here, very, very.
Were you surprised?
I was, but I feel very fortunate, and it's a really good, exciting situation.
This is a great company. I was going to ask you this later, but I know that you've been on the mainland. Where do you see Hawaii's tech industry? Like, what is your take on where we're at?
Yeah, I think it's, I wouldn't say night and day, but you can't compare it, especially with the Valley. And I think we experienced that when we, and we can talk about this in more detail, but when we kind of culminated the Blue Startups experience with the pitch in the Valley in San Francisco. It's just everyone's there, everything is there, both investors and technology resources. That being said, if you asked me that a year ago, I would say there's nothing here, right? There's not, but I have a very different opinion firsthand that it's not black and white. I think there is quite a bit of opportunity, and from a tech point of view, you have to find those opportunities to take the advantage of being here, or take the reality of being in Hawaii and turn that into advantage. And I think we gave you one example of trying to just work the networks. It's much easier to try to get meetings with executives because it's a little smaller, condensed here in Honolulu. Use that to our advantage.
And then I think Hawaii has a bigger population of seniors too.
It does.
As far as compared to other
It's actually
states.
the highest proportion of seniors in
Wow,
the
in
country.
all-
And the average age is also the highest.
I did not know that. Wow. So that works well.
And, you know, if we are trying to, in some ways, kind of build off of the strength of family bonds and intergenerational, which is, of course, I mean, culturally has been part of Hawaii for
That's
a very,
true.
very,
That's true.
very long time.
Which ties in very nicely with what your product does.
Right, right.
Okay, so how was Demo Day in the Valley?
Well, I mean, I think one day there is like a week here. It's like Silicon Valley
Wow.
time. Everyone is moving fast.
Packed in.
Everyone is working fast. I think you could go into every Starbucks and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a graphics designer," and like everyone would stand up and say, I can help
gosh,
you.
That's crazy.
It was great. It was great to see. I think there are a lot of opportunities there, and probably where our business ends up is there'll probably need to be dual presence. I think, you know, and that's what's the story that some of the former blue startups cohort have told of that. You know, they're operating in both places, or in a couple of cases, they've had to totally relocate because investors demanded it. But yeah, it's a crazy place over there.
Were there any outcomes, or is it just kind of the start of a conversation, or?
Well, we got some mainland sales.
Yes,
That's
it wasn't
great.
all, you know, we took the opportunity of being there to do the pitch and meet with investors. But also, you know, just as Jeff was saying, the massive market just from technology and people there is much greater. There's a lot more senior communities there. So we happened to make some contact and
That's
network.
great.
And
That's brilliant.
long story short, we got our first mainland pilot going there. We have more now, but just from that one trip, we got a few going from that. And that was just a result of saying, hey, you know, can we come in? We show it to them. And
This is just cold.
they said, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, as you kind of know, in the first case, I knew somebody who knew somebody. You know, it's kind of Hawaii style. But since then, it's really then saying, hey, at least we build on that credibility and momentum, saying such and such, we have mainland presence. So the next person says, oh, these guys are legit, right? And
That's great.
even before that, we
Just
have
takes that
Hawaii presence. Then
foot in the
mainland.
door.
Yes, yes.
Wow, that's really great. Did Blue at all cater to healthcare? I know that they kind of.
Well, they had a
said that was
dedicated,
track.
they had a couple of slots in their cohort that were
healthcare.
reserved for healthcare. It was ourselves and another startup called Tip Top Health out of San Francisco. One of those spots, which was Tip Top, was sponsored by the Hawaii Health Connector. So they contributed mentorship and, you know, their expertise in healthcare. You know, so really, and I believe for the next cohort, they're also trying to dedicate some, because it's a hot investment space. And I think, you know, it's somewhere where Hawaii, you know, has potential.
And it sounds like from your empathy gathering, there's a lot of potential in the senior space. Like that sounded like just one.
There's a lot of room
particular-
for improvement as far as just processes and data collection. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. We're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back. This is High Growth with HTDC, and I'm your host, Cindy Matsuki. My guests today are Todd Funasaki and Jeff Malins of Sagely, and we'll be right back.
Hi, aloha. My name is Chris Leatham, and I host a show called The Economy and You. The show plays every Wednesday at noon. And on my show, I bring on guests who are interested or working in the technology space. And so I'd like you to come and watch the show and learn with me about all the sort of exciting things that we're doing in Hawaii to build and grow our economy ecosystem. So I'd like to say aloha, and I look forward to seeing you on the show. Thank you.
Aloha, Yappers. This is your host, Kingsley, for the Yap Show. Every Friday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch us here live, ThinkTech Hawaii, and then later on we upload to our YouTube channel. We talk about youth issues, policies, youth programs, and how to transition yourself into adulthood.
But this was like a sign, I guess. Hey, life's like, hey, right. Now's your chance to go back to school, which I'm doing.
Catch us here again live, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Aloha.
Hi, welcome back. This is High Growth with HTDC, and I'm your host, Cindy Matsuki. My guests today are Todd Funasaki and Jeff Malins of Sagely and also TeamPraxis. Sagely is a spin-out of TeamPraxis, which is such an interesting model. Do you think this model would be good for other companies?
Oh,
kind of looking
absolutely.
to innovate, or?
Absolutely, and I think especially where, if you look at Silicon Valley, everyone's used to risk everywhere, versus in Hawaii, it's less common.
It's
We're trying to build that culture, and for us, it represented a really great way to get our feet wet. And so, for example, we have a really great technology team, and this application is built entirely in the cloud, using the latest technologies, both for mobile and for web. I mean, really state-of-the-art stuff. And, I used to lead R&D at TeamPraxis, and we would have spent quite a bit of money training our employees on this new generation of technology anyway. So part of what, we pitched to our board was, you're going to spend this to build these skills anyway. Why don't you let us start a company? At the same time, we'll build lean product development, we'll grow leadership in terms of, the younger generation, and at the end, if it doesn't work out, we know all of this technology, and if it does work out, there's a lot of upside. So that was kind of, they were supportive, management was supportive from the beginning.
That's great.
But I think it's a model that could be replicated. Like if you could if Hawaii companies could sort of spin some of their R&D and their training efforts around empowering some of their employees to test out ideas.
Because the way you make it sound, it actually sounds like it minimizes the risk to the company.
Yeah, in fact, this is kind of the second time I've actually been through this model. The first time was with the larger enterprise software company I was with in the Bay Area. And back in 2007, I was a part of a spin-in. It never got fully spun out, but it's a very, very successful arm of Informatica. That was a company. And so we, just a handful of us, less than 6 of us, were given the leeway and to build out this cloud division. It wasn't even the division, it was just a branch, and it evolved. But I think, to your question, I think it's a great model because it allows innovation, within a larger company with reduced risk.
I think the biggest jump is we were given a lot of autonomy. And I think that's the only thing that's really required is sort of lay out the period of time, lay out the money, lay out the goals, but then,
give up some control.
Let the people work.
Yeah, there's got to be trust but that's why this agile or the lean process was very good, because it wasn't like we went away for 6 months and we came back with something and say, hope you like this. It was pretty much every week.
And you have metrics, right, that come with the lean process where you can show somebody.
And no matter how far close in you go, there are goals, there are milestones, there are time boxes, quote unquote, of when certain things have to be achieved by. So yeah, accountability is sort of built in if you follow the process.
And I would think that would help satisfy management.
It did. It did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. So where is Sagely at now? Like, what is...
Yeah, we're at the point where we have our production generally available product as of Jan 1, and we're really taking it to market. So we're trying to move beyond. So first thing, all of our pilot customers here in Hawaii, thankfully, have become paying customers.
Yeah, that's a win.
Yes,
That's
definitely. And not only are they just paying, that's one milestone, but we continue to work very, very closely with them as strategic partners almost. So Jeff and I were just meeting with Trisha and some of the Plaza team earlier this week. And we're really working with them to learn how to sell, basically, right? Teach us how, as we try to, because the next step is really then to market and sell to the mainland, running some campaigns, email, direct marketing. And we're lucky because we have the exact target people that we're trying to meet. And they're giving us feedback. No, I wouldn't open this. I wouldn't read that. Yes, you should do this.
That's great.
Yeah, and so it's very, very nice. But that's the key. One of the key next steps is to continue to try to expand the mainland and grow our footprint there. That's a critical part of the business.
Right, and then on the business side of things, we are working to raise money. We have a seed investment from DataHouse, parent company, but you know we think we can raise more to let us keep an extra developer, let us be more aggressive in our marketing. So really just to kind of add flexibility to what we're doing. So that's been one of our focuses now. We've been making a couple presentations, doing some private pitches.
Do you have sales team yet? Not yet.
Well, he's the sales team.
You're looking at us.
All right.
So I'm the business side and product management, and he's the sales and relationships.
Oh, very good, very good.
Lean and mean.
Well, and we have a great team of developers.
So are you constantly tweaking the product, or?
Oh, every couple of days we release a new.
Wow.
So that's part of, really the Silicon Valley Web 2.0 kind of ethos of it's just constant change. It's not like you go from version 3.1 to
and then the next
version
year.
2, and then it's really constant improvement, constant releases.
Yeah.
And we've needed to learn how to do this.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that seamless to the customer? Or?
Well, it's seamless to the customer, but Jeff really spearheaded the learning part of it for the team to really get to that point. It's not trivial. It's not easy. But from a customer point of view, it's fun in that. I'll give an example. So one of our pilot customers, they said, "Hey, we're in contract mode. I gave you half a dozen items, security items, functionality. I don't think I can. We really should kind of pause the contract discussion until we get that stuff into the product." And I said, "Well, 4 out of the 6 you mentioned are already in. Just refresh your browser, and the other 2 are coming next week." And so, this very, very agile.
Wow, that's
mode
great. Really
very,
surprised.
He was, yeah. But he's actually, we've been working with them for a while, so he wasn't shocked because kind of get used to this mode of iteration.
Very good. Very good. And it runs off the browser. It's a browser platform.
So it does. There's actually 3 applications. There's the browser where you do configuration, manage your calendar.
That's the back end side?
Yeah. Then there is an iPad application for staff members. So if you go to any of these senior communities today, you'll see the activities directors and others carrying around iPads.
Oh, that's
and
great.
then there's the phone application for families.
Wow. And they all have different interfaces.
They do, yeah.
And if you go to GoSagely.com, so GoSagely.com, you can see that, and we have a video, GoSagely.com/video. You can get a quick explainer of what it works, how it works.
Oh, very cool. Are you guys hiring? To throw that out there.
It'll depend on the investment numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But if we get to where we want to be, a year from now, we will definitely be hiring. I mean, and that's sort of the lean, laying out our benchmarks, laying out our goals.
So the plan is there.
The plan is there.
So and if we are able, I think one will come with the other, right? So if we're able to prove what we're talking about to investors, the investment will come, and then
And I think, I'll throw a shout out to both DataHouse and TeamPraxis. They are hiring.
Okay,
and,
great.
You can be part of the next Spinout startup.
That's good to know that the culture is like that there. What are they hiring? Do you know in particular?
Developers, project managers, program managers, consultants, really anyone
Wow.
with a kind of a technology and business mind, I think should look up
great.
at our website, datahouse.com, and check it out.
I know, and HTDC is looking forward to partnering with DataHouse and TeamPraxis
Absolutely.
soon, hopefully. That's exciting.
Moving home.
That'd be good. I was going to throw out Kapuna Waiola. That's where my grandma's at. Have you guys approached them?
Well, we have.
Personal note?
Yeah, well, see, this is a good example. After this, we're going to make a call. And
Right, if you could request Sagely specifically.
I could do that. I can
because
do
honestly, that's kind of how we've gotten into these other
that.
communities, right?
From the family pushing
Right,
it.
from the family, or
That
just
makes sense.
somebody saying, and again, so far, that initial introduction with some credibility is what we really needed, and the product and the vision and the value of it has been speaking for itself. Once we kind of get
especially now that you can say, oh, well, the Plaza has it, or
Right.
Arcadia uses it. Then it's like, oh, wow.
Kahalanui. We
That's
actually
great.
have about 60% of the assisted living
Wow,
market in Hawaii.
that's great.
And the company is less than 8 months old. The
Wow.
final product is less than 3 months old.
And it sounds like the implementation is really simple.
Yeah, we've gotten pilot customers, for example, like Kahanui up and running in less than an hour.
That's
We do a
amazing.
meeting, we bring shirakia, we
some bento.
have lunch.
Food is
and-
always good. That's amazing. But so families and practitioners and the agencies can go to Go Sagely.
Yes.
So it's all those different customers, and it kind of speaks to all of those customers.
Yeah, we really see the community as being and so by community is kind of the modern term instead of facility. We had our hands slapped a little bit because facilities tend to imply nursing homes and versus, somewhere you go to quote unquote die versus somewhere you go to live. I mean, the industry is trying to really brand the positive aspects, so it's called a community.
That's good.
But yeah, the communities we really see as the central party, so they'd bring in Sagely, and then they're the ones who would sign up families and kind of distribute it that way. And we're working on, various revenue models where, if we do have premium features for families, for example, that are paid, where we could split revenue with the communities. So that's kind of our goals for this year, is to do more experiments, more lean around some of those changes to the business model.
Yeah, because I would think from personally speaking, that's a pretty big pain point. So I would be willing to pay something for that.
And that's what we're hearing. It's just how do we figure out the details?
Yeah.
And that's the fun part, actually, is trying to unwrap the problem and figure out how to address it.
I'm pretty impressed because tech people aren't usually comfortable just going out there and talking to people.
Well, and we're continuing to do that,
That's
right?
great.
So we started with assisted living and independent venues, but we're speaking to skilled nursing, of course, and even hospice and palliative care, and even home health. So.
So seeing what other markets it could apply to.
It's not it doesn't mean something's going to come out tomorrow, but as far as the vision, we think that there's something there.
That's great. It sounds amazing. I'm so excited for you guys. Congratulations. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having us.
And I want to share this good news with everybody. So I think it's gonna be great. Check it out. GoSagely.com.
Yep.
Yeah. And my guests today have been Todd Funasaki and Jeff Malins, GoSagely.com of TeamPraxis, and their Blue Startup Experience. This has been High Growth with HTDC, and I'm your host, Cindy Matsuki, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.